Okay, let's go ahead and select our race. That's going to be the very first choice that we make because there are far-ranging consequences based on what race you select. And that's true, I know, for a lot of role-playing games. They get different abilities, but also culturally, they're viewed in different ways. We have a very rich setting here in the Magitech Chronicles. So what you're looking at here, this is Frit. She's an important character in the main Magitech Chronicles series. She is an Ifrit, that's the name of her race. They are a magically created species, as you'll learn if you read the books. They're not available here as a race to play yet, but they will be in the final release of the role-playing game. Anyway, when you are choosing a race, what you're looking at should primarily be, can this play the concept that I'm interested in playing? So if I want to be a spell sniper, which one of these races is best going to support that choice? And as you can see, each one has different attribute modifiers and racial abilities. And we're going to go over each of those in brief. So the first of the races is the Drifter. And as you can see, they get a +1 fortitude and a +1 agility. And what that translates into is they tend to have a higher melee defense because their caps are higher. They have a few more hit points. They're a little bit tougher. And they have a higher dodge because their agility is higher. So they're tough little fookers, as they would tell you. They have a cast iron stomach, so they're immune to poisons and they suffer no penalties from alcohol. If you are familiar with the movie Snatch, Brad Pitt's character, the way he talked, that is the way that drifters speak. It's an Irish Cockney. It's very difficult to understand. And if you get a few drifters talking together, it's really rare for anybody outside of their group to understand what they're saying. Drifters are most famous for making beer. All healing potions and counterspell potions in the sector primarily come from drifters because drifters are the one that are brewing those potions and beers. And in a drifter's opinion, what's the point of making a potion that's non-alcoholic? Like, if you're going to make a potion, you may as well make it beer. Anyway, that's drifters. Fun and interesting race, and there's some great drifters sprinkled throughout the existing novels if you'd like to see kind of how they play out. Humans are one of the more dominant races currently in the sector. They have had their ups and downs recently if you've read the Magitech Chronicles, but what makes them so resilient is their versatility. They get to choose where they excel, and so maybe they don't have quite as many attribute bonuses as some other races, but they are choosing where that lands, which is important. Now, it's important to note that this cannot raise it higher than 5. So if you already have a 5 in something, you can't raise it to 6 by putting this point into it, but it can raise it obviously to 5. +1 skepticism is really where they shine because skepticism is a very, very important defense. All magic targets your skepticism. And so humans, they're just kind of skeptical. They're like, yeah, right, I don't really believe in your stupid magic in a lot of cases. And so that makes them more resilient to it and they're less affected by spells. Cheyennes are similar to like elves in most settings in that they are beautiful and long-lived. They don't have curved ears or anything. They look just like humans, but they, imagine the most attractive person you've ever met, and that person is the baseline for a Cheyenne. They get a +1 reason, so they're very logical and Vulcan in that way. And they also get a +1 appearance, which makes them, obviously more physically attractive. However, appearance can be a magical casting attribute, what's called an expression. You get to choose as a mage, as you'll find out later, what you want to roll when you're casting spells, and appearance is a viable option. The universe responds to beauty, and so many Cheyennes are going to lean on that, and hey, what do you know, they tend to be pretty arrogant as well. They also are magically endowed, so they get that spell pool, and they don't age normally, and what that means is Cheyennes, as long as they have a source of magic they can ingest, will not age. They are effectively immortal. If you were to take a Cheyenne and you were to drop them off on a moon somewhere with an atmosphere but no magic, they would age and die normally, just like a person would. But if they were given magic at any point, it would stop that process. It won't reverse it, but it will slow it and stop it if they get enough magic. And so you can see old Cheyennes. People have been deprived magic for a period of time in their lives, but they are rare. Finally, the most popular by far, the hatchling. This is a dragon hatchling, and dragon hatchlings at the age of a century, when they hit 100 years old, they molt and become a worm, a small worm. Well, up until that point, hatchlings are bipedal. They have a tail and 2 legs. And they also have wings, so they can glide. They have a breath weapon, just like their parents, and the aspect of that breath weapon is going to depend on the type of hatchling they are. So void hatchlings will have void breath. Earth hatchlings will have acid breath. Fire hatchlings will have fire breath. I mean, you can see where this is going. But all hatchlings have thick armor. They have scales covering their entire body, and that gives them a very potent baseline armor as well as additional hit points. So they're tough. And so lots and lots of people choose to play hatchlings because, man, if you want to be any sort of warrior, if you want to be any sort of frontline fighter, it's hard to beat a hatchling. I do think that some people underestimate humans because skepticism is such an important defense for all characters. But lots and lots of people who've made characters so far have picked hatchlings, and I can't blame them. Anyway, that's a quick overview of choosing a race. Those are the 4 available races right now in the Quick Start Guide. We'll have Innerins and Ifrit and several other races that are coming in the near future that you can select from. But for the Quick Start Guide, those are the 4 that we want to go with. Anyway, you can move on to the next part of making your character. So I will show you that as the last step in the video. Just scroll down here. Now we're going to move into archetypes and paths, and I will do that in the next video.